Hey guys, this is the answers, the problems worked out for the practice test that you can use this on the test, so make sure you bring this back. Make sure you try these problems and then double check my work against your work. A lot of you are just copying down what I write and you're curious why you're not doing well. Well, it's because you're not practicing, you're just watching. So first problem, I'm going to break 20 down. That's going to break down to 4 times 5. And the square root of 4 is 2, so I get 2 root 5. So my answer is C, so I'll just put the letter C right there. Problem number 2, I have two different radicals, so I can't do anything. So the first radical is going to stay as is. The second radical I'm going to break down to 4 times 3. The reason not 6 and 2 is 4 is the perfect square. Take the square root of 4, which is 2, so it's going to join the other 2 that's already outside. And then we can go ahead and subtract. So 5 minus 4 is 1, so I get 1 root 3, which is just root 3. So I'll put the A right there. Problem number 3, remember we can multiply outside, outside. So that's going to give me 10. And then also inside, inside. And so that's going to give me 72. All right, so this one, when you look at 72, you have to think about, my perfect square is 4, 9, 16, 25, 36. Think about 36. 36 times what number gives me 72? That would be 2. And so then I'm going to get a 6 because square root is 36, joins the 10 outside, which is 6, and then multiply outside, so I'm going to get 60 root 2. There's not a multiple choice on that one. Problem number 4, we need to take a look at it and see if we can break it down a little bit. I'm going to break 24 down to 4 and 6. So that's going to give me 8 times 2 because square root of 4 is 2. So it's going to give me 16 root 6 minus 4 root 53. I don't think 53 is going to break down too well. 2 doesn't go into it, 3 doesn't, 4 doesn't, 5, 6. I don't think that's going to break down. So this whole thing like this, that's my entire answer. And you can circle it or you can try and squeeze it in there. It's your choice. All right, problem number 5. Let's get rid of the parentheses first. So I'm going to get 5 times a is 5a. 5 times negative 2 is negative 10. These are like terms, so we can go ahead and combine those together. That's going to give me 4a plus 8. And then let's go ahead and start solving it. Let's bring a to the same side. So that's going to give me an a over there. And then I'm going to add 10 to both sides. So a equals 18. So it's answer A. So we'll put the A right in there. Problem number 6. This is the difference of two squares, or you could just add 25 to both sides. So you're going to get x squared equals 25. Remember, when you go root, root, don't forget the plus minus. So plus or minus square root of 25 is 5. So 5 and negative 5 are my answers, which is B. I can do the same thing on this one. I can add 24 to both sides. Because I don't have the x term, that's why I can do this. So I'm going to get that. I'm going to go root, root. Don't forget plus minus. So I'm going to get x squared equals plus or minus root 24. Well, 24 is going to break down to 4 and 6. So the square root of 4 is 2. So I'm going to get 2 root 6. So plus or minus 2 root 6. Here's my answer, C. Problem number 8. Just looking at it right away, you're like, wait a minute. Everything's an even number, so I can divide everything by a 2. Let's see if we can break that down. Notice I did the 0 as well, which is still 0. And then we want to think about, can we factor this? There's a 1 out front, so I get negative 20. Okay, and you could use the quadratic formula on this one as well if you wanted to. But the factors of 20 are 1 and 20. And I know that 1 needs to be positive, 1 needs to be negative because I have negative signs in there. 2 and 10, 4 and 5. Well, the 4 and 5 are only 1 apart. So I'm going to plug in a negative 5x and a positive 4x right here. That's going to replace the negative x. I have an x in common between those two. And I could factor a 4 out of those, out of here, positive 4, and that's going to give me x minus 5. So I'm going to get x minus 5 equals 0, which equals 5. and I'm going to get x plus 4 equals 0, which is x equals negative 4. So 5 and negative 4 is answer C. Okay, it's not equal to 0 at this point, so I want to subtract 30 from both sides. So I'm going to get 2x squared plus 4x minus 30 equals 0. Now, are all of these even numbers? This, this, and this? And the answer is yeah, so I'm going to divide everything by 2. That way I can break it down a little bit more. 2x minus 15 equals 0. Remember, I have a 1 out front. Let's see if we can factor it. So negative 15. In order to get a negative when multiplying, I need to have one positive and one negative number. The factors of 15 are 1 and 15 and 3 and 5. Are either those two away from each other? And the answer is yeah. So I'm going to have a positive 5x and a negative 3x that I'm going to replace right here. So that's going to give me x squared plus 5x minus 3x minus 15. I can factor an x out. I can factor out a negative 3. So I get x plus 5 equals 0. So subtract 5 from both sides. So I get negative 5. And then I get x minus 3 equals 0. Add 3 to both sides. So my answer is A. Okay, problem number 10. Ooh, it's x to the third, so we have 3 answers. So I'm going to take an x out. I'm going to be x minus 20x plus 96 equals 0. So this right here is going to right away give me x equals 0. So that means this one can cross out right away. Okay? And then I'm going to factor this. Okay, so 96, positive 96. I know both signs are going to be negative because I have a negative sign right here. So I have 1 and 96, 2 and 48, 3 and 32. And if you did this on a calculator, you'd go 96. 96 divided by 4 is going to give you 24. And look at that. Those are 20 away from each other. Okay? But we got to be careful here because if they're both negative, that gives me negative 28. So that one probably won't work. Let's try 6. 6 and let's see. There's a 1 there. And 16. Well, that's going to give me 22. Maybe 8. 8 and 12. There it is. If those are both negative, I'd get negative 8x and minus 12x. And that's going to plug in. So I'm going to go x squared minus 8x minus 12x plus 96. Let's factor an x out. So I get x and x minus 8. Let's factor a 12 out. So I get x and x minus 8. So x minus 8 equals 0. So x equals 8. And then x minus 12 equals 0. So add 12 to both sides. So this has all 3 of my answers. It has the 0, the 8, and the 12. So the answer is C. This one, if you try and multiply it out, I get 5. And the factors of 5 are just 1 and 5. And there's no way to get 10. So you have to go to the quadratic formula. So A equals 1, B equals negative 10, C equals 5. So you have x is equal to negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all divided by 2a. And let's do the math. So positive 10, I get 100 minus 20 over 2. Bring it over here. Root 80 over 2. You have to think about breaking root 80 down. So you think your biggest perfect square. 4 definitely works, but you know what bigger works? 16. 16 times 5 is 80. So the square root of 16 is 4, so I get 4 root 5 over 2. And then don't forget to reduce this. 2 goes into everything outside. So I'm going to get 5 plus or minus 2 root 5. That's my answer. All right, taking a look at this one. If I multiply the 9 and the 3 together, I get negative 27. There's no way I can get to the negative 2, so quadratic formula again. So A equals 3, B equals negative 2, C equals negative 9. we know that x equals negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So I'm going to get 2 plus or minus negative 2 squared is 4. Negative 4 times 3 is negative 12. Negative 12 times 9 is going to be, let's see, I got to do that. I can't do it in my head. Sorry. Monday morning, I guess. 9. Okay, that's 108. So plus 108 over 6. So I'm going to get 2 plus or minus 112 over 6. Now let's see if we can break 112 down. 112, let's see, does 4 go into it? I think it does. That's 28. Okay, well, I could break that down even more, 4 and 7. Oh, so that means that 16 times 7 is 112. So square root of 16 is 4. And then 2 goes in that once, twice, 3 times. So my answer is 1 plus or minus 2 root 7, and it's all over 3. Okay, it looks like on this one, I'm going to divide everything first by 10. And that's going to give me x to the third minus 6x minus 16, or x squared, x equals 0. I can factor an x out of all 3 of the terms. So this is going to have 3 answers again. So remember, my first answer is going to be x equals 0. That took care of that. Now I'm going to put a 1 out front. I get negative 16. So I know I have a positive and a negative. So the factors of 16 are 1 and 16. Well, that's not 6 apart. 2 and 8. 2 and 8 definitely will work. So positive 2x minus 8x is going to give me 6x. So I'm going to get x squared plus 2x minus 8x minus 16. Factor an x out of both. Factor a negative 8 out of both. So I'm going to get x plus 2 equals 0 and x minus 8 equals 0. So add 2 to both sides, so I'm going to get negative 2. Add 8 to both sides, so I'm going to get positive 8. There's my 3 answers. It was raised to the third power, so there's 3 answers. Number 14, don't let this confuse you. It's a relatively simple linear question. So 3 times 2x is 6x. 3 times negative 4 is negative 12 plus 5 equals 41. So I get 6x minus 7 is equal to 41, because if I combine negative 12 and 5 together, add 7 to both sides. So I get 6x is equal to 48. Divide each side by 6. So x is equal to 8, because 48 over 6 is 8. I think we already did this one, but we'll add 25 to both sides. Root, don't forget. Plus minus, good. And that's my answer. Just plug it right there. Let's see, number 16, maybe it'll factor, I don't know. I get negative 10. So the factors of 10, that would add, nope, that's not going to work. So I have to use quadratic formula. So a is 2, b is 2, c is negative 5. So x equals negative b plus or minus square root b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. So you get negative 2 plus or minus 4 plus 40, because negative 4 times 2 is negative 8. Negative 8 times 5 is positive 40 all over 4. So I'm going to get negative 2 plus or minus root 44 over 4. 44 is going to break down to 4 and 11. 4 times 11, excuse me. Square root of 4 is 2, so I'm going to get negative 2 plus or minus 2 root 11 over 4. And then what we want to do is go ahead and reduce it. There's a 1, there's a 1, there's a 2. So I get negative 1 plus or minus root 11, or 1 root 11 if you wanted to. There we go. Number 17, let's see if we can factor it first. Put a 1 out front. I'm going to get a positive 15. In order to get a positive 15, they both need to be negative, because that's negative. And I think 3 and 5 are going to work. So if I have negative 3x and minus 5x, those combine together to give me negative 8x. So I get x squared minus 3x minus 5x plus 15. Factor in x out. Factor in negative 5 out. So I'm going to get x minus 3 equals 0 and x minus 5 equals 0. So x equals 3 because I add 3 to both sides, and x is also equal to 5 because I add 5 to both sides. All right, let's add 2x to both sides. So x squared plus 2x minus 99. Now this one looks like it's quadratic, using the quadratic formula. But if you get negative 99, you have a positive and a negative. And think about 9 and 11. 9 times 11 is 99. And if I put them in the right order with the positives and negatives, so I'm going to get positive 11x minus 9x. That's going to give me the 2 minus 9x minus 99. So x and x plus 11. Factor out a negative 9. That changes signs. So I get x minus 9 equals 0 and x plus 11 equals 0. Add 9 to both sides, so you get 9. Subtract 11 from both sides, so you get negative 11. All right, now we're going to get down to the couple of these word problems. Okay, so it says the area of a rectangle is 36. Okay, so a rectangle is this. I have a length, I have a width. Okay, they tell us that the area, which is length times width, is equal to 36 is equal to length times width. That's the area. Okay, and then they tell us the length is 5 more than twice the width. So the length is equal to 5 more than twice the width. So let's find the dimensions. So I'm going to take this, and I'm going to plug it in right there. So I'm going to get 36 equals 5 plus 2w times w. Let's do the math. Multiply, that's going to give me 36 equals 5w plus 2w squared. And I'm going to bring the 36 over. So I'm going to get 2w squared plus 5w minus 36 equals 0. Let's multiply that together. So I'm going to get negative 72. So I need one positive, one negative. And so 1 and 72, that won't work. 2 and 36 won't work. 3 and 24 won't work. 4 and 18 won't work. 5, 6 times 9. Or wait. Like 6 times 12. 6 and 12. Yeah, that's going to, is that going to work? No. 7, 8, 8, 9. Ooh. You know what? This one won't work out. Typically what would happen, I think maybe I'm missing a factor. Let's see, 8 and 9. Yeah, this one actually doesn't work out. If it had worked out, let's say we wound up finding like w is equal to 2, then you would plug 2 back in here and you'd go 5 times or 5 plus 4, which is 9. So this one doesn't really work. It didn't work out. I guess we didn't check that well enough. I'm sorry. Okay, the perimeter of a rectangle. Okay, so we have a rectangle, so we have a length and we have a width. Perimeter is equal to 2L plus 2W. And we know the perimeter is 32. We can actually break this down. We can divide everything by 2. So I'm going to get 16 equals L plus W. This will be pretty nice. And then they tell us the area, which is length times width, is equal to 55 is equal to L times W. Okay, so let's modify this one. Let's subtract W from both sides. And then I'm going to take this and I'm going to plug it in right here. And hopefully this one will work out. Hopefully we check this. So we're going to get 55 is equal to 16 minus W times W. So that's going to give me W squared minus 16W equals 55. Let's subtract 55. 0. And then 55, this is actually going to break down nicely. Negative 11 and negative 5. Let's see, is that right? Minus 55. Oh, that should have been a plus 16W. Sorry about that. So we're going to get a length of 11 and a width of 5. So if we set those equal to 0. That's all I have. So make sure you double check this. Make sure you try the problems first. I'm sorry that number 19 didn't work out, but we will take care of you. Make sure you ask some questions during class. Have a great day, everyone. Take care.